Okay, in today's video we are going to be working on mid-range techniques. So as I've talked you through the videos before, we've got, if you think about it, there's three distinct phases: close range, longer distance, a long range, and then the middle range. And the middle range in kickboxing really should be so that you can kick the other person and they can't kick you, and your punch range as well. So you hopefully have in the middle range, which can vary quite a bit. The ideal position is where, depending on obviously the height of the person, is where you can hit them and them not hit you. But obviously that depends on how tall they are and their limb length. So sometimes you'll be in a range all the time if the person's always taller, or not always taller but has a longer reach on their legs or their arms, which is why the arm reach is so important both in boxing and kickboxing. Then that is always going to be a position where they'll be able to hit you at the same time. But what you then have to do is move within that middle range, okay? And that's what's really important. Get into your position, do what you've got to do, and then get back out of that position if you need to. And if the person's taller, sometimes you're going to have the strategy of closing them up all the time and taking their legs away, but that depends on how good their hands are. Or you have to be a little bit more focused on where you're striking and what you're doing, and you need to move a lot more. So there's different strategies depending on how tall the person is, what their limb length is, okay? But we're going to go through some just techniques that you use. So when I said to you, on that middle range, your back leg, so your back leg kicks, whether that is front kick, whether that is roundhouse kick, a full twist roundhouse, it could be a half step up for the round. So a half step would be here. It can also be for a slide position. So you're just lifting and sliding ideally. If you needed to step and then lift, you'd have to carry further, okay? So you could go much further. So if you can do half steps and slides, you'll get even further. So the techniques we want to use in this range good is your bowler punches. So your bowler punch can stretch far because you're rounding it over, hitting over the top, okay? Also your screws, you can get a little bit more distance on those as well. When you're doing your mid-range, good if you can use this back arm to the body, so you're right cross to your body. That is also another good strike to use if you can use your legs to get in. So your footwork in the mid-range is really, really important. So if you're on a bag, try and practice at different distances. So you can put markers onto the floor, whether how close you are. So if you put a marker that's close to the bag, that will be your close range work, which we talked about. All right, so that is where you're either leaning right into the person on the ropes. If it's a tatami, so a matted area, they'll obviously not want to go out of the area, okay? But this works much better, obviously, if you're in a ring and you've got ropes, because you can move off of them. So some of the techniques putting these things together. So from there, you can use your back legs, then use your hands positions. You can also, so from this position, you can use longer, so you're moving in the hook. That would be something you'd use in that mid-range. So where we use the bob and weave to close up, then you can use your short hand techniques once you're closer, okay? The front leg, not a full step up as I said, but you can do a half. So you can cover the range, then kick off the front leg. By doing this, that will allow you to be able to push in a little bit more of the technique, rather than where you just do a front leg with a lift. So what you should work on the bags, some of those techniques, all your kicks off the back leg, okay? And if you're going to kick off the back leg, so whatever kick I'm doing, try and use your hands afterwards. If you're starting on a back leg kick, and obviously most of the time you'll be landing forwards if you're attacking, all right, and you're moving into the person, and then use your hand techniques afterwards, okay? So my advice to you is put 3 markers down. Use one for your close range, so you'd have a marker across. If this was the bag, you'd have a marker here, then you'd have a mid-range marker, and then you'd have a longer range. So the 3 markers would give you, when you're close, your mid-range, and then your longer distance, okay? And then you can use your hands and legs going into the bag, okay? And then choose some of those techniques and use some of the combinations which I went through before for the 3 different ranges, okay? So the video for that is on YouTube, okay? Keep practicing.